What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sheiv, the Wise, and welcome back to Vader's Lab. I hope you guys are having a fantastic final Mandalorian Tuesday. That's right, we are coming to a conclusion tonight, and as bittersweet as that is, now that we're getting the last episode of Season 3, it's time to get hyped, because it is the final episode of Season 3, and we're definitely here to enjoy it. So let's get it going. Let's preview Season 3, Episode 8 of Star Wars The Mandalorian. And let's talk about whether or not we could be losing Din Djarin tonight. Let's do it. What's up, guys? I hope you are doing well. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this last episode, and let's get into the final episode. So this past episode, The Spies, was one of the best of the season. Maybe one of the best Mandalorian episodes, in my opinion, ever. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good stuff in it, and it definitely progressed the story. It brought back Moff Gideon. It introduced us to the Shadow Council taking place at this time, which is kind of like the leaders of the Imperial remnant, which we were kind of told at one point that at this time period there wasn't too many like Imperial leaders. It was just kind of warlords broken off and shattered. That doesn't seem to be quite what the case is. It seems like they're just a little bit more organized, and as we know, the First Order is going to come to be at some point. So let's talk about this and what kind of came out of last episode. It is good to see everybody in the chat. Much love to all you guys for being here. I hope you're excited. We are going to be doing our watch party later tonight at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 2:30 a.m. Eastern time for the final episode. It's going to be a good time, so make sure to be there. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. All right. So, Moff Gideon is back. He has his Beskar armor. He's taken Din Djarin. Grogu, of course, is, pimping out in that IG-12. That thing is pretty badass. I hope he gets to kind of become an expert in it and, he, doesn't lose it like the Razor Crest and, so many of the other cool things that Din Djarin has had over the years. I hope Grogu gets to keep IG-12 for a bit, though. But, of course, Bo-Katan has been set up all season to be a big, big character. And I am super excited to see what becomes of her now that she's kind of leading the charge, hopefully to rescue Din Djarin at some point in this episode. Of course, he was taken. Paz Vizsla ended up sacrificing himself so that the rest of the Children of the Watch and the Night Owls and even the surface dweller Mandalorians, all the Mandalorians could get away so that Paz Vizsla kind of, sacrificed himself for that. And let's talk about the Spies title, because I know a lot of us have been speculating, me included, over what the Spies title this past episode was. And I definitely thought it was the armor. It still could be. She's probably up at the top of the list for me still, because the armor has definitely been suspect since Season 1. Season 2, she's even a little bit more suspect. She's definitely suspect in the Book of Boba Fett. And she's sure as hell suspect in Season 3. Yeah, the spy is Sheiv, says Jedi Mike. It's been me all along. I've been every voice. Yeah, right? No. The spy, I think, though, originally I thought it was the armor. And we have to take a moment here and, get the clip ready. And, I added Emily Swallow and everything. I'm sorry, armor. I don't think you're the spy. I apologize. I thought it was the armor. I was convinced, and maybe she is. She's still super suspect. I'm sorry, though, to the armor. If you turn out to not be the spy, it's all my fault. I apologize. You looked so suspect. I'm starting to think it's the surface dweller Mandalorians, and hear me out, guys, because I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Who you think the spies were? Steve Starenka, thank you for the 8th month of membership. 8 months of members. Wow, that's freaking awesome, Steve. Thank you for being a member for 8 months. He says, "Ayo, Grogu is the spy. Darth Grogu starts tonight." That would be insane. I don't think Grogu is quite the spy. But hear me out for the surface dwellers, because they just came out of nowhere last episode. We know it's not Bo-Katan for sure. If it's the armor, she doesn't really have a motive. Like, she kind of gave a nod to the surface dwellers at one point, and it seemed super suspect, and that was when she was going to bring back the people. Maybe she had a conversation with their leader already about taking them back. But those surface dweller Mandalorians are the most suspect characters in the episode, and I apologize to the armor for thinking it was her. They come out of nowhere. They say they've been on Mandalore this whole time, which, I mean, sure, maybe that's possible. Although we did hear all these stories about how Mandalore was cursed and, gassed, and it was inhabitable, basically, which obviously is probably not true. But these dudes were there, acted like they were Mandalorians, and either they could be working with the Empire, which is like, how would they not know the Empire is there? Let's talk about that, because how would they not know the Empire was there? They showed up as soon as Bo-Katan and the fleet showed up. Like, those dudes got to Mandalore, and within like 5 minutes, those guys showed up, and they're like, yo, do you have food? But it's like, how would they not see the Empire come? You know what I mean? They took them right to them, too. You know what I mean? Like, they're the most suspect characters in this one. Don, thank you for the 8 months of membership as well. That's so cool to see all the 8-month members rolling through. I know there's a few of you guys out there for sure, and thank you, everybody. Spy is not sussy for me, says Jedi. Not sure what you mean by that, but okay. Scotty Hawk, what up, my dude? He says, Din ain't making it out. Darth Grogu or bust. Okay. That would be freaking wild. Jared Dyer, it's good to see you in the chat. He says, I still think the armor, she's been sus. She's been shady since season 1 for me, but would love to be wrong because she's badass. Me too, Jared Dyer. I'm trying to make a case for her to not be. I'm trying to make a case for it. Matthew Cruz, thank you for the 8th month of membership. Welcome, and thank you for being a member. Speaking of memberships, by the way, we are trying to do a $5 tier here, which is going to be doing giveaways in the future, and as well as future monthly membership videos. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And for our first kind of kickoff, we're going to be doing a giveaway of Jedi Survivor here in the next 11 days when the game drops. We're just 11 days from Jedi Survivor. That's pretty freaking crazy. I mean, Celebration was just felt like yesterday. You know what I mean? It feels like we just got the Ahsoka trailer, and we're 11 days away. Even though it's the finale of Star Wars The Mandalorian tonight, we are 11 days away from Jedi Survivor, and you definitely can be damn sure that Sheiv is going to be streaming that game as much as possible, as well as our Rebels rewatch is coming up here pretty soon too, and I am hyped about that. Alright, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Anakin Skywalker says Vader's lair, Moff Gideon, contact with Krennic from Rogue One. That would be pretty wild. I don't think Krennic's alive at this point, but that would be cool. Star Wars Politics, thank you for the month of membership, my dude. Much love to you. CT0420, welcome into the chat. He says the armor is a Mando who is under Maul, I think, but it doesn't make her evil. Alright, let's go down a rabbit hole. I want to see what you guys are saying in the chat still. And Chun-Li Fortnite, this is the way indeed. Welcome into the chat. So, let's go down this rabbit hole together, because it's time for some theories. Some Star Wars theories indeed. Last episode, when we saw Moff Gideon walk into the Shadow Council, we saw some Bacta tanks, and even though he denied cloning to the Empire, which is a big red flag to me, like, this dude was cloning, and it was not even for the Empire. I mean, Hux is out here trying to do Project Necromancer, which is most likely the cloning efforts that we think could bring back Palpatine. I mean, it looked like Gideon was cloning Snoke potentially last time we saw some cloning tanks in this show. But I mean, what do you guys think is in Gideon's cloning tanks? Because if we're going to talk about the armor having Maul connections with those horns, Gideon had Maul horns too. And what is that about? So if we're going to connect the two, or predict that maybe the armor is the spy from last episode, because who knows, maybe she is still. What if those horns are the little key? A lot of people have thought that the armor has potentially been Rook cast this entire time, which would have been a character that was loyal to Maul during the time of the Clone Wars. Who knows who Moff Gideon could be, but let's put this into perspective. All right, hear me out. Maul, after the Clone Wars, escaped the clutches of Ahsoka during Order 66 and went on to lead what was known as the Crimson Dawn Syndicate. And we don't know quite, I don't know quite how long Maul was the leader of that group. At some point, Kira took over and was the leader, which, if you remember Kira from Solo, that was one of Han Solo's past love interests. She ended up taking over Crimson Dawn Syndicate, but for a long time, Maul was the leader before he popped up in Rebels randomly and showed up on Malachor out of the blue. We don't know how he got there. We don't know what he was doing during that time to potentially set up somehow Maul returned. I'm just saying, like, what if Gideon is cloning Maul? It's a long shot. Hear me out though, because the horns, and like that would totally one up Palpatine if he was like, yo, I'm gonna put this plan in place to have people set up in the Imperial remnant after I die to take down the Empire's remnants from within. And I'm going to have this dude, Gideon, who I maybe trained in the past. We don't know Gideon's history. Let's be real. What if he trained up Gideon and had him implanted into the Empire? And then Gideon, this whole time, hasn't been trying to clone for Palpatine, but behind Palpatine's back has been cloning for Maul. It's too crazy. It's not going to happen. What's more likely, though, is that Gideon could be cloning himself. A big hint to that is actually this past episode when he talks about how the Dark Trooper has been perfected. Last time we saw Dark Troopers, it was those crazy mechanical Dark Troopers that Luke Skywalker cut up at the end of Season 2. And we don't know the full extent of cloning at this point. It's probably advanced quite a bit since the time of the Clone Wars era. If Gideon is possible, like if it's possible for him to like make a full clone of himself, like what if there's like 6 Gideons all in their own Beskar suit, and that's what he's cloning this whole time? Like that would be pretty wild. And CT0420 with the epic questions tonight says, could Moff Gideon be cloning Starkiller? I even tweeted that out on Twitter. Like that's the furthest reach I've probably had. Like cloning Maul is one thing, but cloning Starkiller, whoo, that would be crazy. Probably not. I don't know how Starkiller, like that would be a crazy way to bring him in, and it would be perfect right before Ahsoka to bring in, the apprentice of Vader, and versing the apprentice of Vader. It would be perfection. Probably not though. I would love if Starkiller was brought into canon. Talented Mr. Griffin says she could just be a Zabrak. Who knows? Could be a Zabrak for sure. Who knows? There was kind of concept art that I shouldn't even say this because it doesn't even look like it. But there was concept art from chapter 12 in season 2 when we do see Gideon's like cloning facilities on Navarro. And one of the tanks, if you squint at a certain angle, it looks just like a Zabrak. So take that for what you will. Saber Smith says, could we see the armor take her helmet off? That would be freaking awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, if she's not a traitor, maybe if she is a traitor, she could just be like, yo, we're wearing the helmet that whole time. That would be pretty funny. I know it's a reach, but I really want to see him live. Me too, CT0420. I would love to see Starkiller. Zeb and Carson and Blue Squadron. Hype! That would be dope. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I do think that could potentially happen. The last time we saw Carson Teva was at the end of a couple episodes ago. What episode was that? At the end of like 2 episodes ago, I think chapter 6, we see like a post, not quite a post-credit scene, but a final scene where Carson Teva sees Moff Gideon broke out of the kind of ship on the way to the War Tribunal, and basically we see the Beskar ingot. So we know that Carson Teva was probably thinking Mandalorians are helping Moff Gideon. What's going on? He also was talking to Zeb, one of the last times that we saw him in that episode. Who's to say Carson Teva doesn't like hit up Zeb and maybe some of the old Blue Squadron members or Ghost Crew and say, yo, the New Republic's not taking this serious. I think there could be an Imperial threat out here in the galaxy. Let's go check things out on Mandalore. They all go over there. Who knows? Maybe even our friend Sabine ends up going. Who knows? Who knows? But I will say that one of my favorite new actors, Iman Esfandi, did post this on Twitter not too long ago. And if we saw Ezra tonight, I would absolutely lose my flippin' mind. I would lose my flippin' mind. That's what I would do. So let me know what you guys think of this tweet from Iman Esfandi, where he basically let me find it. Let me find it. I already tweeted it out. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Here we are. This tweet from Iman Esfandi, which says, "Don't know if my heart can handle it, but in Rick Famuyiwa I trust. This is the way. The season finale of The Mandalorian starts streaming tomorrow on Disney Plus." Take that for what you will. I'm hopeful. Probably no chance that Ezra ends up showing up in the finale, but I mean, what if? We know Thrawn's out there. We know Thrawn's starting to start up his stuff. He clearly hasn't shown up in quite a while on the Shadow Council meetings, or apparently ever. In fact, I love that Gideon last episode almost didn't even know that he existed. Or that he was still around. He's like, is Grand Admiral Thrawn even around still? Like, where's that guy been? You know what I mean? I actually freaking love that. But I mean, if Thrawn's out there, who's to say Ezra isn't out there trying to help the galaxy as well, or trying to take down Imperial remnants? Maybe even like Luke was during Heir to the Empire and everything. Oh my, what's going on? Brian Stone, good to see you in the chat. Ezra would be a stretch. Normies wouldn't know who that is. Well, it's gonna happen in Ahsoka probably, so the sooner the better. Jedi Mike says Daniel Logan simp alert. Yes, I do love me some Daniel Logan. If he showed up as a Mandalorian this episode, that would be magnificent. I would love that. Miss Sunflower, welcome into the chat. I hope you're doing well. Ezra cameo, that would be sick. CT0420 says normies need to go to School of Rebels. Yeah, Dave Filoni even said himself, like, hey, even if you just watch the season 4, that would be good. But and it'll make you want to watch the rest. Do it. Come on, go watch Rebels. We are starting our Rebels rewatch this Saturday, so I mean, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, now is the time. It's going to be vastly important to what's going on, and probably this Mandalorian season, and even in the Ahsoka show for sure in the Ahsoka show, which is coming out in August, so it's around the corner. Now is the time. With the appearance of Pelion, I'm really hopeful for Eli Vanto, says talented Mr. Griffin. Dude, Eli Vanto would be dope. If you guys don't know who Eli Vanto is, that is a Thrawn character from the, I believe, Ascendancy trilogy. No, it's from the Thrawn trilogy. It's from the canon Thrawn trilogy. He's basically a Imperial cadet that is loyal to Thrawn, or is basically Thrawn's protege, if you will. Like Pelion, we consider Thrawn's protege and heir to the Empire. Well, if you want to consider Pelion the protege, the real protege is Eli Vanto, and that guy is like almost as smart as Thrawn. He's pretty freaking smart. So there was already a rumor I saw out there that potentially there was a guy that was cast for the Ahsoka show, and I'm like, that guy looks like he could be Eli Vanto. So maybe we do have Eli Vanto. That would be freaking dope. I would love it. And there was also a tease that I saw on Twitter today of Timothy Zahn, the writer of the Thrawn trilogy or really all of the Thrawn novels. Timothy Zahn's one of the probably best Star Wars writers ever. He basically talked about how there's 9 years between where we see Thrawn in Rebels, like take off in the space whales, and where we see him in Ahsoka. And he's already talked to Lucasfilm a little bit about, maybe there's a story to tell between those 9 years. Sign me up. Sign me the flip up. I want to know what the hell happened to Ezra and Thrawn, especially after those space whales hyperspaced them. Whew, that would be an amazing story for Timothy Zahn to be able to tell, and then to see kind of the continuation of in the Ahsoka show. Whew, yes, please. Yes, please, man. This finale of The Mandalorian has me hyped, man. How are you guys feeling in the chat? Timothy, it's good to see you, dude. I hope you're excited as well. It's good to see you in the chat. The goat is here indeed. Miss Sunflower says, are we hyping ourselves too much? Maybe. I mean, the end of season 1 wasn't like anticlimactic. It was an epic end of the season. But it wasn't something that was like, world breaking. It wasn't anything that like, I mean, unless you're a big Clone Wars, like Star Wars nerd, like probably a lot of us here, where we see the Darksaber at the end of season 1 and it's like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, that episode was epic, but it wasn't what we saw in season 2 with Luke Skywalker. That was mind blowing, you know what I mean? Is it going to be on the level of season 2? Maybe not. It's hard to get to that level, man. That was an epic episode. Could we? Sure. Who knows? Anything could happen tonight. It might be literally mind exploding. It might even top season 2. But let's not get overhyped, because maybe it's just like season 1, where it's an epic episode or a really good episode that kind of caps off our story for now and propels us into the next season, which it feels a lot like season 3 is similar to season 1 in the way it's kind of building the story and telling the story of our characters. In a lot of ways, Bo-Katan has been kind of the center of this season, and I even saw some people speculating in the Discord. I think my boy Tim was saying the same way that Crosshair too, but the same way that Tech got a lot of screen time in Star Wars The Bad Batch this season before his eventual fate. It feels like Bo-Katan's had so much emphasis, and it's been kind of similar, where we're getting a lot closer to her. Din Djarin talked about how he's going to be here for her song, and while Brendan Wayne is, teasing out on Instagram that this episode might be too much for us to bear, or too much pain for us to bear, I don't think it's going to be Din Djarin that dies. Even if he's the one that is captured right now. Let me know what you guys think. We already have the poll up. What do you guys think is going to happen to Din Djarin? What will happen to the Mandalorian? Will the Mandalorian die? I think Bo-Katan is going to go back in there. I think the fact that Moff Gideon didn't kill Din Djarin right then and there is telling to what he's potentially going to do to him. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do to him. Is he going to try to mind flame, erase his memories from what he saw at the last cloning facility on Navarro? Because he was one of the few people that did. Is he going to end up offing him anyway at some point? Is Din Djarin going to die anyway after being held captive? Is he going to end up killing Moff Gideon? Because that's always a possibility too. Or is it going to be none of the above? Din Djarin just gets captured. Moff Gideon goes off on his own way. What do we think about Moff Gideon? Is he going to survive tonight? Let me know what you guys think. Eli Vanto, hype! Indeed. I can't wait to see him. Yo, what up, Nerd Mafia? I hope you're doing well. CT0420 says, I'm watching Clone Wars right now while watching you. Hey, that's the way to do it, my man. I hope you can pay attention to both, because there's some fire Clone Wars episodes. KG says, I have no clue what to put on my predictions for him, and I'm the only on the season leaderboard by one lousy point. Oh my goodness. Okay, KG, I understand where you're coming from. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. I will try to help you best I can. I gave up in the Mandalorian ones because I did really well in the Bad Batch, and I was like, This is just too much. Plus, I haven't been watching Santa just in case any spoilers come up. I don't want to get spoiled for Ahsoka or for the end of season 3. No spoilers. Normies should watch Rebels if they don't want to be too confused. They should indeed, Miss Sunflower. They should indeed. Plus, Rebels is really good, man. You should definitely tune into our rewatch. I'm telling you. I'm convinced Din is going to get mind flayed, says Omi-Wan Naomi. It is possible. It was teased out earlier this season. The first time it was teased was back in episode 3 when it was kind of, there were people speculating within the imperial remnants or the imperials that were on Coruscant within the New Republic. They were like, yo, Moff Gideon escaped. Did he get mind flayed? And of course, we saw what happened to Pershing at the end of the episode, kind of getting mind flayed a little bit too, potentially. So it's been teased out already back in that episode that there is some mind flaying going on at this time period. And it could happen to Din Djarin for sure. And that would set up a crazy arc for season 3 where Din Djarin has no memories of Grogu. How sad would that be? That would be so messed up where he doesn't even remember him and he doesn't remember being a Mandalorian. Maybe he takes off his helmet all the time. Maybe in tonight's episode his helmet gets forcibly removed. What happens then? What happens if Din Djarin gets his helmet removed while in the presence of Moff Gideon or some of the others? Does he have to repent once more? Is he going to turn away from the way finally? That crazy armor way, whatever she is. I hope she's good, man. I hope she's good. Ashhammer, it's good to see you in the chat, my dude. He says, bro, if they killed Din Djarin, oh my god, no. If they erase his memories, that might even be worse. I feel like erasing his memories might not be worse than killing him. At least we get more Din Djarin. He can rebuild. Like, there's a story arc to be told with his memories being erased. There's no story arc to be told after he's dead. He's just dead. We know Din Djarin's gonna die at some point. Because if Grogu's gonna live to be 900, he's definitely gonna live past Din Djarin. It's even kind of been teased in the Book of Boba Fett when Luke is like, he's only gonna live a fraction of your lifetime. But so you can either, go off with him now and maybe become a Jedi later, or you can, miss out on that. So what happens then? Bendu. The Bendu would be sick. I don't know how that happens, but I'm here for it. Gunslinger, it's good to see you in the chat, my dude. He says, I want them to tame a Sarlacc and ride that thing into battle. Well, speaking of taming, I don't know about a Sarlacc. I don't know how you would ride it either. They kind of seem stationary in the ground. What do I know about Sarlaccs, though? But what if the Mandalorians end up beating Moff Gideon this episode using the Mythosaur, or Bo-Katan ends up riding the Mythosaur? That would be freaking dope. I'm here for that. Gold package. I think he dies. Oh no! I hope not. I hope not. Ashhammer. I really want Boba to come help save Din because Din risked his life for Boba's town. That is true. I mean, who knows? Bo-Katan could end up leaving Mandalore to go retreat and reform to kind of go get help and kind of battle strategize a little bit better instead of just rushing head on in. They weren't really ready for Moff Gideon and his forces to be there. They had no idea. It was kind of a trap. It's a trap. So now that they have a better idea, it's possible she could regroup, end up maybe even calling some people of her own. We know R5 was on the ship going back with the armor and the rest of I think he was on the ship. I know he was with Bo-Katan at one point and the fleet. So R5 could be contacting Carson Tiva like he did earlier in the season. It's possible that Bo-Katan could regroup and end up calling some of her friends. She's friends with Ahsoka. She's friends with Bo-Katan. Excuse me. Whew, something in my throat. Damn. Whew, excuse me, guys. I'm just saying, though. The armor could be doing some dirty stuff, so who knows what's going on with her or the surface dwellers and what's going to happen with kind of the spy, because I do think there was a spy last episode. But it's possible, too, that, Bo-Katan could regroup and call her forces as well. Game Mind, welcome into the chat, says, I hope the Mythosaur eats Moff Gideon for disrespecting Mandalore. Yes, me as well. That would be dope, and it would be kind of poetic to some of the stuff we've seen in Star Wars, right? Like, you mess with the planet messes with you, my guy. Ugh. Excuse me. Dale says, I'm still hoping with the cliffhanger that we don't know what Din's fate is, and at the end he's possibly killed from a certain point of view. Yo, I need some water. Could the N1 be destroyed, says Jedi Mike. I hope freaking not. I hope not. I love both of Din Djarin's ships being the N1 and the Razor Crest. Back when it was the Razor Crest during season 2, I literally named my silver G35 the Razor Crest, and a week later they blew it up. In the next episode, it was like, well, this is just a bad omen for my car now. So when they rebranded to the N1 and that became Din Djarin's new ship in the Book of Boba and here in season 3, my car is now the N1. It's not the Razor Crest. So don't blow up another one of Din Djarin's ships, please. I beg of you. Timothy, welcome into the chat once again. He says, I think we need to remember what happened to Tech. They focused on him the whole season, and at the end, I think that's the reason they focused on Bo so much. And that could be. I'm telling you guys. That could be the case. And thank you again, Tim, for saying it in the chat, because who knows, man? The way they've been portraying Bo's character, what if her song is coming to an end? Din Djarin was teasing it out last episode. I'll follow you till the end, Bo-Katan. You know, your song has not ended yet. It's not written yet. So what is the ending of the Song of Bo-Katan? Are we going to see it here in this final episode? Could she be sacrificing herself for Din Djarin? I guess we'll end up seeing later tonight. Star Wars Politics says only Boba is allowed to ride the Mythosaur. That is true. And to get back to my point about Bo-Katan potentially, getting some recruits or, recruiting some people and retreating, maybe she calls Ahsoka. Sabine could potentially be with Ahsoka. She's friends with both of them. Maybe she calls Boba Fett and is trying to unite more of the Mandalorians. Because, hey, he is kind of a Mandalorian, and she could be like, yo, I know I kind of disrespected you in the past, fam, but Din Djarin needs help. I know you guys are homies. Can you please come help him? And him and Boba and Fennec Shand will be like, all right, let's go help Din Djarin. And who knows, maybe Ahsoka as well. That would be freaking dope. I don't know if she has, Luke Skywalker's phone call on speed dial. I kind of doubt that, but who knows? Who knows? I think Din Djarin will get Slave 1, says Gunslinger. Yo, that would be dope. That would be freaking dope. Game Mind says, I think Din Djarin will fight the Red Guards. Sorry, I can't write their names. The Praetorians. No, you're good, bro. I get you. That would be dope. I do wonder who is going to take out the Praetorians. 3 against 1 was not fair against Paz last week. I'll tell you that. Jared Dyer says, I think Gideon either wants Din's blood or his pure Beskar. If Gideon has been on Mandalore, it's possible he sent the droid creature that captured Din earlier this season, and now he can take the rest. Oh my goodness. I've seen this theory floating around there that maybe Gideon was the one that placed that little Beskar spider droid that, was trying to steal Din Djarin's blood. Personally, I think it just needed its blood to survive. Like, it looked like it literally fed off of human blood or off of, like, creatures' blood or essence or something. But it could be. It could be like, yo, we need all this Mandalorian blood. We're trying to create a super Mandalorian. Or maybe those super commando Mandos that we saw this past episode, or those stormtrooper Mandos, whatever you want to call them. Maybe those are clones. That the things that we see in the back to tanks. Maybe those are Mandalorian clones that had been brought back by Moff Gideon to fight against Mandalorians or rebuild Mandalore. That would be crazy, freaking crazy. It's still on Navarro, maybe. Which ones? Say what? If Gideon removes Din's helmet, he's no longer a Mandalorian. Everything Din went through this season would be for nothing. And also, if Din was mind flayed, that would be gut-wrenching. It would. It would be absolutely devastating, to say the least. Timothy says, I want Grogu to help Bo tame the Mythosaur. Yes! That would be freaking dope. I would love if, Bo-Katan ends up actually riding the Mythosaur. She ends up, going into battle against Gideon and destroying a bunch of the forces. Heck, I'm kind of scared, by the way, of Gideon's forces. He does have a bomber and a TIE interceptor, or a bunch of TIE interceptors and a bunch of bombers coming in. That's some scary business, but we'll get into that here in a sec. Because I do like the fact that, you know, she could ride that Mythosaurian. Maybe the Mythosaur ends up losing control with all this stuff that's happened to Mandalore. It's like, you've destroyed my homeworld. And maybe it does need Grogu to use the Force to calm it down at the end, kind of foreshadowing his rise as the next Mythosaur that rises up. You know what I mean? Leading in a new age of Mandalore. JXS, welcome into the chat, says, no, Din can't die. The show wouldn't be The Mandalorian without him. Bro, he's literally the Mandalorian, my guy. Well, to get into this whole little theory that Din could potentially, you know, something could happen to him. Probably not. I think Din will probably be fine. Maybe Bo-Katan dies, though. To get into this, though, Rick Famuyiwa at Star Wars Celebration kind of confirmed, as he is one of the executive producers, that the show has kind of transcended past Din Djarin being the titular character. He's not the only Mandalorian, he's not the Mandalorian that the show is about solely anymore. While he definitely is the Mandalorian still, don't get me wrong, the show has transcended past that to where it's more than just him. It's, in my opinion, this season it's been Bo-Katan, it's been Grogu, because Grogu's definitely the Mandalorian in my opinion. But of course it's been Din Djarin at times. Heck, Paz Vizsla was the Mandalorian last episode. That dude was awesome, and this is the way, you know what I mean? So it's kind of transcended past him, according to some of the producers of the show at least. Maybe that ends up being the case further down the line if there is no Din Djarin, but I doubt that they kill him off, right? Like, if Jon Favreau was already writing season 4, it seems very unlikely that they're going to kill off the main character, especially after, you know, kind of having him in the background a little bit this season. I feel like Bo-Katan, to Tim's point in the chat, has been set up to potentially make a sacrifice or become the leader this season. Maybe both. Maybe she ends up trying to make a sacrifice and, you know, we think she dies or, you know, gets blasted trying to save Din Djarin or Grogu or something. And then Din Djarin uses the Darksaber and, like, for the first time is actually able to wield it and kills Moff Gideon or something like that. That would be friggin' dope. Like, I would love something like that. Bo doesn't die, says Brian Stone. Don't they have a ceremony where the armorer appoints her ruler of Mandalore? I don't know. I have no idea. That would be dope as hell. Gunslinger says Ahsoka will show up tonight. Okay, I think she will because they need some press for the new show. I fully welcome that idea. So, I don't know if Ahsoka's going to show up. Maybe she does. Like I said, that would be freaking dope if she did. But Grand Admiral Thrawn, he was name dropped already in season 2. He was name dropped at the Shadow Council this past episode. What if Gideon at the start of this episode goes into the Shadow Council and Thrawn's like already in there going, I've been waiting for you, or like, you know what I mean, like he's already there just like talk shit, get hit. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, I heard you were talking that smack, my guy. It's time to pay dues. And I would love if Thrawn at the end of this episode, you know, Gideon has the upper hand, and who comes in to save the day? Thrawn. He's just like, screw everybody, and just starts bombarding Mandalore and destroys like Gideon, everyone down there. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the most Thrawn thing for Thrawn to do if he showed up. But, you know, for press, if they want to, you know, tease out, you know, the Ahsoka show, not having Thrawn in the trailer and everything, what if he showed up in a post-credit scene tonight where it's him, like Pelion going to him or something, and, you know, talking about him coming back as heir to the Empire? Like, that would be dope. That would be dope. Thrawn in a post-credit. I'm with it, Sunflower. I'm with it. Brandon Tran says, what if Sabine and the Ghost Crew show up to save Din from Moff Gideon? Dude, that would be dope. I would be all over that. Who knows? Maybe it will happen. We do know Sabine's a Mandalorian. We saw Zeb earlier in the season. There's been a lot of Star Wars Rebels hints and clues throughout the season, whether it's the space whales, the Purgle back in episode 1, the Melu run this past episode, seeing Zeb. Like, there's been a lot of Phantom Menace and Rebels kind of imagery or moments this season, and that would be dope. That would be absolutely dope to see the Rebels crew come in this final episode. Maybe even Zeb and Hera or some of them. Like, that would be awesome. Post-credit scene. Let's go, Tim. Aaron Tomato says post-credit. Let's go. Haven't really tried to speculate on the grand scale. Do it, Dawn. I think this episode is definitely going to have a big banger moment, more so than even season 1. Again, I don't know if it's going to reach that Luke Skywalker level that we got in season 2, but I do expect it to be an epic moment indeed. Because we're scared. Vader's Lair, have you read Air yet? I started reading Air recently, so I'm like 17 chapters in. It's good. It's excellent. Yeah, man. I almost could see it as a canon story still. Like, it almost could fit into the canon storyline, which, like, having Heir to the Empire, like, either this is the continuation or the canonization of Heir to the Empire, or that 9-year period could be like the real start of it. If Zahn ends up writing more books, like, that would be dope. Ahsoka tease in the post credits. Let's go. I would love it. Luke could show up again to scare Moff Gideon like in season 2. That would be sick. Luke's just like, don't mess with people, man. Don't do that. Dawn, I'm gonna allow myself to be surprised. Me too. The surprise will be worth it. I think tonight's episode is gonna be an awesome one. Everyone spam the embarrass on the side emoji tab. Say what? Do it. Brian Stone says Vader's Lair, Heir to the Empire, could be totally adapted to the Filoni movie with Ahsoka instead of Luke. Exactly. Or even Ahsoka and Ezra and Luke. Like, all three of them. You know what I mean? It would be dope. It would be dope. Heck, I've been working on videos, man, and I hate that I'm such a slow editor, because I've been speculating about who those white-haired characters are in the Ahsoka trailer. I think it's Balin and Shin are their names, but who are they, right? Like, they're just orange lightsaber wielders with white hair, white blonde hair, like Omega almost. I think they could be like the Sabayos of the story. Like, they're the clones, you know what I mean? Like, I think they are the Sabayos. Maybe that's even what Moff Gideon is cloning in this episode tonight, is these Sabayoth, Balin, and Shin characters that, you know, maybe Moff Gideon's working with Thrawn. It doesn't seem like it. He seems like he's like super skeptical of Thrawn. But maybe Thrawn comes in as just like, yo, you're a pretty smart guy. I like what you're doing here with this Beskar stuff and, you know, these clones. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take that. That would be cool. Timothy says it's interesting the Book of Boba post-credit scene led to absolutely nothing so far. Yeah, I think that's going to be leading to something in the Book of Boba season 2, to be honest. Maybe it happens tonight, though, if we end up visiting Tatooine. I will say I saw the runtime was about like 40-something minutes with the credits and everything. So like 38 minutes of actual footage, I think, is what we can expect for tonight's episode, which, hey man, that's not too different from the finales of season 1 and season 2. They're both about 40-ish minutes. So, I'm not upset at all about this. I'm excited for tonight's episode. I think they're going to kind of conclude the story the way they need to for season 3 here and give us something hype to talk about, because I think it's coming. I think we're getting some exciting, and I'm excited for it. The Mandalorian, welcome into the chat. He says, Mandalore will not fail again. Will not fall again. No, it will not. Talented Mr. Griffin says, I'm waiting to see how much Sabine has improved with Ezra's saber. Me too. I've been working on a video on Sabine's hair and like what she's been up to leading into the Ahsoka show. Like, what's she been doing? And in that, I've been debating, you know, there's some footage out there of Sabine using that saber, because we did see it the last time we saw Ezra's saber, he gave it to Sabine before he blasted off. So we know she has that saber still. There's some footage out there of her using it. And dude, I would love to see her using it. Maybe that even happens here in the finale. Like, that would be mind-blowing. We don't know exactly when the Ahsoka show is taking place, like the start of it, or like when the post-credit scene of Rebels, I guess you could say, or the epilogue of Rebels happens, where Sabine is talking about everything and goes off with Ahsoka. Like, it's possible, you know, what happened with Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2 happened most likely before that. And that probably gave Ahsoka some type of information or something to basically a lead, I guess you could say, to go find Thrawn. And she might have gone to Sabine after that on Lothal, which we see in the trailers and everything, and been like, yo, I got a lead on Thrawn. It could lead us to Ezra, and this could end up bringing Sabine into the fight, and that would just be absolutely epic. And maybe that even happens before The Mandalorian Season 3, and maybe they end up going off together and helping Din Djarin and everybody here on Mandalore tonight, and then end up going off to help Ezra, and we kind of see the beforehand in Ahsoka and like kind of what happens after. Like, who knows? That's probably not gonna happen though. More Boba, says Tim, please. I would love more Boba. Omi Juan says we could see the payoff of that tonight, Tim. Indeed. Of the Boba post-credit scene. Yeah, that would be dope. Kylo is like 4 or 5 years old at this point. Yeah, so I don't know if we'll see him. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we could see Leia and Han. That would be kind of cool. So what about the Disney Plus Mando intro with the blue good and red bad helmets? The armor is blue, Din is red. No, I think that well, maybe Din is gonna get, like, you know, mind flayed and turned into a bounty hunter for the Empire. That would be crazy. Maybe it's Moff Gideon's. We don't see like the helmets or the horns really, but the armor is blue, so she is most likely a good guy then, right? No fillers. 30 to 40 minutes of full action, baby. Let's go! It's gonna be a freaking lit episode tonight. Don says Din must survive. He needs to find his bro. He does. He does indeed. He's got to find Ezra. John Wick saves Din? What? Somebody should have told me. I want to go see John Wick Chapter 4. Or I want to go, you know, I need to see all the John Wick movies. I haven't seen any of them yet. Brandon Tran says, what if Mando Season 3 post-credit scene has Ezra together with Thrawn? That would be wild. I don't know if Ezra would be working with Thrawn. I feel like the two of them were definitely not on good terms at the end of the Rebels show. But maybe. That would be freaking wild. Game Mind says, my thoughts on who we could see in tonight's episode. Zeb and the X-Wing guy. Maybe Carson Teva. Maybe all the Delphi Squadron, or Slave One with Boba, Fennec, and Cobb Vanth if he's done. Mando did everything for them. Yeah, dude. Mando has definitely been helping out a lot of people throughout the galaxy, being a true Mandalorian. And if everybody doesn't rush to my boy's freaking side tonight, I'm gonna be mad. Go help Din Djarin, please. We can't lose him. Brendan Wayne, you can't be doing that. I mean, come on. We're not losing Din Djarin. Let's be real. Dave Filoni even said fans are going to be happy with the end of the season, or he thinks that they're going to be satisfied at the end of the season. So take that with a sigh of breath and relief as well. I think we'll be good. Me scared? No, don't be scared. It's okay. It's okay, Grogu. We'll be all right, okay? IG-11 is going to, or IG-12 is going to save the day. That's for sure going to happen. Any speculation on the debriefing room, says Steve Saranka. Yeah, the debriefing room, I think that could even be a sign that maybe he's being taken to somewhere where they mind flay people. That debrief your mind, you know what I mean? We're going to debrief you of these memories, my guy. Yeah, that's what I think the debriefing room is. But what do you guys think in the chat? Let me know what you guys think. Saber Smith says, my students would be so excited if we saw Zeb. They love him so far. So since we've been watching Rebels, that's freaking awesome. I love Zeb too. It's hard not to. The guy's pretty funny. I would love to see Zeb again, and to see him kind of help out with Carson Teva and maybe some others to rescue them. Ayo, what up, Mike the Popcorn Porter? Thanks for popping in the chat, my dude. I hope you're doing well. Much love to you, Mr. Positivity. Timothy says the last season and Boba had a pretty happy ending, so I mean, nobody really died so far. Yeah, maybe this could be the Empire Strikes Back of the story, or the beginning of that, though, where the Empire or the dark side is starting to win the fight. But to your point, Star Wars is pretty hopeful these days, and I think that George Lucas wanted Dave Filoni to think about that when creating his content. So a hopeful ending is most likely the case, and I'm hopeful that it will be a hopeful ending so that Din Djarin doesn't have to go through too much. But who knows? Maybe a few limbs might even be lost since the Darksaber's getting involved. Maybe Bo-Katan ends up losing it again and Din Djarin gets it. Or maybe Bo-Katan ends up killing Moff Gideon with the Darksaber. That would be sick. Taking back Mandalore once and for all, man. That would be awesome. Open a can of cold beer for Din Djarin's fate tonight. Definitely got to do that. Got to open a cold one for Din. And if he dies, we got to pour one out. Pour one out for the homie. F in the chat if that happens. But I hope not. All respects to Din Djarin. That guy is the GOAT. Brandon Trent says Armor could be the other spy working for Gideon. She looks sus and could be revealed to be Rook Cass, Maul's Commando from the Clone Wars. Yeah, so we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's definitely possible that the Armor could still be one of the spies. And I want to know who you guys think are the spies in the chat. Actually, let's end this first poll that says what will happen to Din Djarin. 38% of you guys say none of the above. 23% of you guys say he will kill Moff Gideon. 25% of you guys say he's going to be mind flayed, and 14% of you guys say he's going to die. So most of you guys think none of the above is going to happen. But let's ask this next question in the poll here. I don't know. I was going to ask about Moff Gideon, but now I can't remember. Who's the spies? That's what I was going to say. Who is the spy? Who was the spies of last episode? The spies. Obviously, we know it was Elia Kane. But if there were other spies, was it the Armor? Was it the Surface Dwellers? The Mandos that came up out of nowhere? And to kind of throw some more speculation on that, one of them even had like a B2 pauldron. It wasn't even Beskar. It was a battle droid head. Like that screams suspect. Who was the spies though? The Armor, the Surface Dwellers. Was it Din Djarin? No, I'm just kidding. Was it what's his name? Axe Woves? Or is it another? Let me know what you guys think in the chat and in our next poll here. Who was the spies of last episode? I definitely think it was Elia Kane. It could even be the Imperials that are around the galaxy spying on people in the name of the Empire. And then it could be the Armor, and it could be the Surface Dwellers. Could be Axe Woves. He did kind of take off in a blast, but I don't think so. I don't think it's Axe Woves. He left his people behind. He wouldn't probably do that, would he? Maybe. 50% of you guys say the Armor right now. So yeah, maybe it is the Armor. And the horns on her head, maybe it's not to bring Maul back, like I was talking about earlier, my crazy deep dive theory. But what if they're still loyal to the idea of Death Watch or the leader that would have taken Maul's place? I guess the next in line, I guess, because to us that would be Sidious, you know what I mean? When she's out there somewhere, or his clone body might be, or something. Sidious's essence is out there. So if you really want to get technical, and if spider droids can take it from Din Djarin and it becomes Bo-Katan's when she beats it, I mean technically it would be Palpatine still. If you really want to, get down to the nitty gritty. But if they were followers of Maul, that being Moff Gideon potentially, if he was a Mandalorian at that time or something, and then the Armor, of course, having her horns, confirming that she was once a member of Death Watch, or at least her faction was broken off of Death Watch at one point. Maybe she is still loyal to whoever would have been next in line, which could be Moff Gideon. And that would be pretty wild. Skinny Pete is the spy, says Sunflower. Yeah, Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad was in this past episode. A reunion from Moff Gideon, of course, being Gus Fring, and Skinny Pete here as one of the surface dweller Mandos. And he was the dude with the B2 pauldron. He had a battle droid as his pauldron. I thought that was so cool. How is Armitage Hux right now? How old is Armitage Hux right now? Well, we did see his dad, so if he's alive, he's a young boy, most likely at this time. Right? Young boy. Maybe even a like 10-year-old, even at the most. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably in his 30s during the sequels, right? So cool to see Papa Hux, though. That guy's a lunatic. The Mandalorian says, Moff Gideon, you son of a... Timothy says, I was thinking the armor, but now I feel like it's the surface dwellers. They asked for Bo like someone told them she would show up. Yeah, they were like, yo, is Bo-Katan there? We heard she's going to be here. Is she there? We need some food. They were suspect. They were definitely suspect. The other thing is, with this whole Mandalorian creed and anything, they could just be Imperials for all we know that literally just put on some helmets they found that Moff Gideon was like, yo, Bo-Katan's going to be here soon. We got a person working for them. Put these helmets on. They'll think you're Mandalorians. Just roll with it. Bring them right to us. Grief Karga will die? Nah, I doubt it. Grief Karga's a beast. I want to see some more of him in the future too. Why would they do that? Can't kill off Grief Karga. Game Mind says or a spy could be the spy, but the Empire side, working with Mandos on the New Republic. Maybe. That would be interesting. Oh no, you're right. Closer to 10. We'll say what? He's like 5-ish. I think he'd probably be like 10-ish, because it's like 25-ish years out from the sequels, right? So he could be like 10. Steve Storenka says, what was that sus moment on the ship with the armor right before? Yeah, so thank you for bringing this up again, Steve. This was definitely a big moment last episode. That super sus moment of the armor. First of all, she gave like a little bit of a nod to one of the surface dwellers. I don't know if you guys saw that. Big sus. And then she ends up flying some of them back, saying, right before they get, intercepted by the Empire or by Moff Gideon, she flies back with some of the sick members of the surface dwellers. And if the armor isn't, so let's give the armor the benefit of the doubt, if she isn't one of the spies, maybe she's just transporting the actual spies who are going to turn on her as soon as she brings them back to the fleet. And that would be bad news bears. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good. So they're getting attacked from the air and from the ground. Nowhere is safe if you're a Mandalorian on this mission right now. Even if she is one of the spies, that's even worse, because then she's could potentially bringing spies with her. She is one of the spies. Maybe she's working alongside those surface dwellers. It seems like she already had access to Mandalore earlier in the season when she had, some of those living waters back in like the first or second episode. Like, she's probably had access to Mandalore and known it's not been dangerous and lying to her clan this whole time. So don't get me wrong, the armor, you're not off the loose yet. You're still super suspect. And you could be working with these surface dwellers or maybe with Moff Gideon to get some of that living waters. Some of that good. Should Palp have a right to the Darksaber? He should indeed. Yes, Sheiv is the rightful owner of the Darksaber. And he always has been. No, yeah, Palpatine definitely is technically the ruler of the Darksaber, and again, maybe his essence is out there somewhere to claim it. And if you want to get technical, if nobody else beats Palpatine until then, technically the owner of the Darksaber is Rey. So all you sequel haters, there you go. Rey is the owner of the Darksaber. I'm so dead. Tim says they try to throw us off and put a lot of sus things in it to speculate. Yeah, they've definitely been throwing a lot of crazy stuff into the season, and it's been a lot of fun though. I know you maybe didn't even mean that. Brandon Trent says the armor could have made Gideon's Maul-inspired armor. Maybe she did if she's working alongside him. That's definitely possible. Kylo and Hux are around the same age, like brothers. More like, angry brothers. They definitely didn't get along. Great question, though, Dustpan. Omi1 Naomi says, we've had 4 Breaking Bad actors in the Mandoverse. Skinny Pete, Bill Burr, Moff Gideon, and the Rancor Whisperer. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's so true. That's amazing. We've had a lot of Breaking Bad characters in the Mandalorian. That's awesome. All roads lead to Rey. Indeed they do. MK Matt says, but wouldn't she have to explain how she got those living waters? I don't consider her having that as proof. She had access to Mandalore. She may have had it for a super long time. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely super sus, though. Like, that's probably how she was getting the living waters, was through them, right? Like, super sus. Yeah, Rey is the owner of the Darksaber. There you go, everybody. She's the spy. No, yeah. I think the armor could be still too. It's her or the surface dwellers, maybe both. Politics says my vote was for another. It wouldn't let me scroll down. I'm so dead. 41% of you guys think it's the armor that is the spy, though. If it's not her, we definitely owe her a big apology. MK Matt says, my hope is that the armor isn't the spy and all this ends with her being the armor of the Great Forge. How dope would that be? That would be sick, and that would be awesome for Emily Swallow. I really do like the armor character. I hope that she's not a traitor, but she's so suspect. Ray Djarin, I'm dead. Well, let me know what you guys think down in the chat on whether or not Din Djarin is going to be surviving tonight. We are just about an hour into the stream. We could go a little bit longer. If you guys have any theories or questions to throw into the chat, feel free to throw them into the chat. Feel free to throw them into the chat, and make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be here for at least another 5 minutes, so you guys can throw any last questions in. We are going to be doing our watch party later tonight as well. We are going to be doing a giveaway here soon too. So for that watch party, 11:30 p.m. Pacific time is when we're going to be doing it. Definitely be here. We're going to be here 30 minutes before the episodes drop. So make sure to be there. We're going to kind of do a little preview, go over the episode again, get our live reaction as we watch an episode, and then at the end of it, we're going to talk about the episode afterwards for at least a little bit as well too. I'm going to be tired, but it is the final episode. I'm super excited for the finale tonight. So we're definitely probably going to be talking about it a little bit, especially if Thrawn shows up. That would be, show me some Thrawn Yorota. What do you think of Lars Mikkelsen playing you in live action? Yes, Thrawn Yorota. What do you think? What do you think? Wait, does R5 know the Empire is on Mandalore? Where was R5 this last episode? R5 does know. So it's definitely possible R5 was hitting up, Carson Teva and telling him what's good. He was a part of the Rebel Alliance at one point. So hopefully he's R5 to the rescue as always. The horns can't be a coincidence, right, Tim? It's definitely suspect. Definitely suspect. Says the Mandalorian. Who did it, Din? Who turned on you, my guy? Keep going. 40 of us watching. You love to see it. Definitely. I'm loving all the viewers in the chat tonight. I know the Star Wars hype is real. It's definitely an exciting time in the fandom. Ahsoka is around the corner. Thrawn is coming. We don't know when, but he's coming. There's so much hype, man. It's definitely hype. Tim says, of course, last season Grogu got saved by Din, and this season it's Grogu saving Bo. Grogu and Bo saving Din. Yeah, that's already happened once this season too, so maybe a little foreshadowing earlier in the season as well. How old is Grogu still? 50? Yes, Dustpan. Grogu would be about 50 years old at this time frame still. At the start of The Mandalorian in season 1, he is 50 years old. We don't know how much time has quite passed since then, but it's at least it's only probably been like a year, maybe 2 at the most, in my opinion, since The Mandalorian season 1. So he's probably 50 to 51, 52 at the most, but probably 50-ish still. 53. Yeah, 53 at the most. I would say 52. 52-ish. Thrawn Yuroto, welcome into the chat. Everybody, it's Thrawn. I would love if Thrawn freaking showed up in the episode. I'll see you in a few hours. Oh, please. Please. The armor is such a sick fighter. I feel like we need to see her do some real heroic stuff. Me too. Me too. She's already done a lot of stuff. And there was a theory out there I saw that, like, she's definitely, you know, with all the other suspect stuff on her, a lot of the time she does moves that attack from the back. As if she's backstabbing everybody. So maybe that is even a further hint. But we've seen her do some pretty heroic, epic action stuff. The thing that makes me think she's not the spy is the fact that she has been all about the Mandalorians this whole time. So it'd be kind of a turn of her character. But maybe she did it in a similar fashion to Bo-Katan, which could have been a foreshadow this past episode, where she did surrender in order to try and protect the rest of the Mandalorians. And maybe before she even told that story, or maybe she wasn't, you know, there for that story, Bo-Katan told that story. Maybe the Armorer did the same thing, making a deal with Moff Gideon to save the rest of the Children of the Watch. Except Moff Gideon's going to turn on her as well. That would definitely be pretty freaking wild. Wasn't Moff Gideon the one that called the first purge on Mandalore? I'm pretty sure he was. I'm pretty sure he definitely was the Mandalorian. Brandon Tran says, if Boba and Grogu show up to save Din, then it's an automatic 10 out of 10 finale. Let's go. I definitely would love to see Boba Fett myself tonight. That would be freaking awesome. He trained with Luke for 2 years, I thought, says CT0420. We don't know. We don't know the timeline. They need to make like a timeline sheet for the Mandalorian stuff right now because it's such a headache. It's so hard to keep up with Dave and John and what the whole timeline is. At the Mandalorian premiere, John kind of basically had said in an interview that it's been 2 years that Grogu spent with Luke's training, basically 2 years. And he was trying to say that basically the time that we spent apart from Grogu and Din between the Mandalorian season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett, which would have been like about a year, a year and a half at the most, but that would have probably been the real time that they spent apart together. So maybe Grogu is like 53 at this point. But it was never clarified if that's the case. Dave Filoni was kind of like, I don't know if that much time has passed. And it's not really clear how much time has exactly passed throughout the Mandalorian season 1 to season 3 here. But that's our best guess, is that it's most, Grogu's within 50 to 53. Make sure to join the Vader Slayer Discord, by the way, if you guys want to keep the fun going. We have a lot of people in this chat that are awesome and that you see here hanging out there. It's also a cool place to get updated every time that we're going to be doing a live stream or, the next thing that's coming here at Vader's Lair. It's a fun place. You can talk to me, talk about the Star Wars stuff or anything nerdy, maybe even sports and a few other things. I mean, Marvel. We got all sorts of stuff hanging out in the Discord, so make sure to join that. Tim put it into the chat, and I'm going to pin it right now. Make sure to keep no spoilers in here, by the way, and definitely make sure to keep none for our watch party later tonight. I don't want to get spoiled for The Mandalorian Season 3, so try to respect that, please. Please, I beg of you. Star Wars Politics says, I had a question earlier. Didn't Death Watch already use the horns on their helmets already when Maul was introduced to them? Yes, that is actually where they're kind of known from. It's back from Death Watch during the, the end or back half of the Clone Wars, when there was a group of, a splintered off group even, of Death Watch featuring Rook Kast and Gar Saxon that were loyal to Maul and had those Maul horns. So maybe, I've been speculating this whole time, like, Moff Gideon maybe is a Mandalorian. And what if he was one of those Maul-Delorians, or, Mandalorians that were loyal to Maul all that time ago, along with Rook Kast, and all of this has been a plan to put, Maul or the next leader or the protege of Maul into power, since this is kind of a time with a power vacuum where the New Republic is trying to set up its presence. Like, it's such an interesting time period where maybe something like that is happening, where they could bring back Maul. You know what I mean? Like, that would be insane. They've already done it once. You know what I mean? He is like Sisyphus too. The character of Maul is portrayed as Sisyphus, this character of Greek origin and legend that basically is trying to push a boulder up a mountain. And as soon as he gets it to basically the peak of the mountain, he falls and it rolls all the way back down and he has to push it up. And he never learns his lesson. He continues to try and push this boulder up forever. And how crazy would it be if Maul, with his hatred and everything he set up during his time during the Crimson Dawn Syndicate, what if he set up Gideon to bring him back with cloning technology, and he just continues to never learn and continue to hate and use anger and continue to fail? And it would be so cool with all the Rebels characters being brought back and Ahsoka being the next character. I'm just saying, like, if he brought back Maul, that would be pretty mind-blowing. The armorer somehow survived Navarro. Was that a coincidence? Her and Paz, and now Paz is dead. Yeah, I wondered too, a lot of the characters don't know that Paz is dead, that we're close to Paz. That being the armorer and Din Djarin and some of the other characters too. Like, Din Djarin didn't see Paz die. How sad is that going to be if Din Djarin survives this episode and they're just like, Paz didn't make it. He's like, no, my brother. That'll be real sad. Because him and Paz had like a bit of a connection. That'll be real sad. But, I don't know, man. I'm worried for tonight. I think there's going to be some epic, crazy stuff going on. I lost my train of thought. And there is some suspect stuff going on there with the armor, though. And I feel like she'll be pretty sad of Paz's death as well. And I don't know if she knows about it yet either. Mike Porter, going to be 60 on May 13th. Dude, that's awesome. I think my grandpa's going to be somewhere in his 70s, May 10th. So right around May the force be with you. Mike the Popcorn Porter, much love to you, my dude, and happy early birthday. That's pretty awesome. CT0420 says timeline is so bad that Leia has memories of her dead mother in Return of the Jedi that never happened because Padme died giving birth to her. You gotta love the Star Wars timeline. So congruent. Mithron Uroto says Thrawn is here to tell you. Near future appearances by myself and Han Solo are most probable. That would be pretty wild. MK Matt says, if something tragic has to happen, I think the best, still terrible case scenario would unfortunately be for Gideon to kill Bo. Oh no. Din then beats Gideon and reluctantly becomes the new leader. That would be crazy if, Gideon versus Bo. Bo ends up dying or losing, and Din takes the Darksaber and kills Gideon and becomes the leader of Mandalore. I'm here for it. It would be real sad, and I would feel real bad for Katie Sackhoff and Bo-Katan. But it would be the ending of her song, and it would be a beautiful song indeed. I love Bo-Katan. MK Matt says, if something... Oh, I read that one. Ragnar gonna go ham when he learns that his father's dead. Yo, that's sad. I forgot about Ragnar. He's gonna be real sad. I wonder who's going to take him in now. Because, he's kind of a foundling again, right? Is Din Djarin going to take in Ragnar? The armorer doesn't know Paz is dead yet. Maybe she goes ham after finding out he sacrificed himself. Definitely possible. Syphilis, yes. Not syphilis. Chill. Happy early birthday, Mike Porter. Brandon Tran says George Lucas had an idea of Maul clone with with Talon as the main villains for his sequel trilogy plan. That is true, and that's what I'm saying. What if Dave is bringing in that George Lucas crazy idea with Maul clones? And come on, it's possible. Does Maul deserve the Darksaber, though, after betraying Bo? But he technically didn't defeat her in combat. She surrendered the Darksaber to save her people. This is not following Creed. It's void. He beat someone else for the Darksaber, though. Star Wars politics. He beat Vizsla. Pre-Vizsla. The pre-Tapaz. Brian Stone says, what if we get Starkiller in the cloning facility? Yes! CT0420 threw that in the chat earlier, and Brian, I would love it. Give me some Sam Witwer. Whether it's Maul or... Either way, give me Sam Witwer. I want to see Starkiller in canon though, and that would be an awesome way to bring him in right before the Ahsoka show. And I'm saying, man, that the two apprentices of Darth Vader in the Ahsoka show would be like, what if what we think is the eighth brother in that trailer with the helmet on and, you know, the Inquisitor lightsaber, what if that's Starkiller? What if that's the Inquisitor that Starkiller I think could be? That would be awesome. Daniel Logan. Yes, Daniel Logan as a Mandalorian needs to happen, please. If it's not in this season, do it in season 4. He can easily be one of the random dudes out there. You know what I mean? Like, come on. 5 hours to go. Let's go. We're almost here. It's so close. It's so close. I can taste it. It's beautiful. Star Wars Politics says, does Moff Gideon technically deserve... Oh, I read that one. He cheated and surrendered it to save her people? Is that following Creed? No. I don't think Moff Gideon deserves the saber, if that's what you're asking. No. He would have to beat Bo-Katan again. Which, if he beats Bo-Katan and then Din Djarin beats him, that would technically be Din Djarin's again, right? You know what I mean? Well, lost focus there for a sec. Mithrani Roto says, speaking of Starkiller, Sam Witwer in live action role needs to be a thing. Way overdue. It definitely needs to be a thing. I asked him at Star Wars Celebration in 2022 at Anaheim, and he said it's definitely possible at some point. So take that for what you will. And then again, of course, we could see Ezra in the finale as well. I kind of talked about that already, how Iman Esfandi, the actor playing Ezra Bridger, says, don't know if my heart can handle it, but Rick Famuyiwa, I trust. This is the way. On a quote tweet of The Mandalorian for the finale, what if Ezra showed up and is taking down remnants of the Empire like Luke Skywalker did in Heir to the Empire? Like, would you guys be down for that? You know, the search for Ezra's been going on this whole time, and he pops up with the Mandalorians. That would be pretty cool in my opinion. Like, I'm down to see Ezra pretty soon. Maybe it's even a post-credit scene or something that leads into Ahsoka. But some eyes into what's going on with Ezra Bridger would be much appreciated. We all miss him. It's been a long time. And I can't wait to see him in the Ahsoka show whenever he does show up. What if the Sand People showed up? I love the Tusken Raiders. If we go back to Tatooine, maybe see Boba Fett tonight, that's definitely possible. I would love that. Yeah, Sam was in Battlestar Galactica with Katie Sackhoff, right? Interesting, says Tim. Does Paz's son get his helmet? That's an excellent question. I wonder, because Paz's body was kind of left there on Mandalore. If the body is retrieved, I hope he does get the helmet. That would be, or like, grows into it at some point. Did you know in Resident Evil Village you can cut down zombies with a maul-like lightsaber? What? I did not know that, but that's freaking awesome. If they haven't taken the creed, says Daylordman. Yeah, like, what if that's why Armor is doing all this? She's like, there, you did not baptize in the waters. Like, she's like, liar. Like, none of you are worthy. Paz secretly took off his helmet too. She's like sending him to his death. If you need more Sam, play Days Gone. He's the main character. Yeah, I definitely need more Sam always. Sam Witwer is a legend. Star Wars Politics says, I thought Gideon has to challenge Bo for the Darksaber, not just her surrender it over. Gideon is such a hypocrite. Right? It's I don't know. If he's a Mandalorian, like, maybe not. Maybe he did just beat her, but it sounded like she kind of surrendered it to him. Which then, like, for anybody following Gideon, you're a loser. Iman might have just revealed when he shows up in Ahsoka because Rick also directed an episode of the Ahsoka show. I'm pretty sure that would be dope, Tim. And the cool thing about Iman Esfandi playing Ezra Bridger is that he's Ezra Bridger, dude. I don't know if you guys know too much about Iman Esfandi. I've done a little bit of researching because I love me some Ezra Bridger. But the dude is such an Ezra Bridger. Like, he's going to fit the character perfectly. I already saw some of the stuff he talked about on Twitter and some of his reactions, the way he sounds. He's going to be an awesome Ezra. And I feel like him teasing this out on Twitter is already kind of like an Ezra moment for him, where he's like kind of just toying with us. I think the Darksaber should be destroyed like the Elder Wand was destroyed. Maybe, man. It hasn't brought too much great to the Mandalorian people. The one pacifist leader that they had ended up getting killed by it. You know what I mean? Like, It's has not brought much prosperity to the Mandalorian people, that's for sure. Gideon expects Bo to hand it over, and he never challenged her. Yeah, what a wuss. He's like, give me the Darksaber and tell them I'm the leader. No. I'm excited for tonight's episode, though, man. I don't know who the spy is, although I honestly do think there is a spy, and there's multiple, because we know Elia Kane was one. I think tonight's episode is going to give us some crazy Empire stuff. I hope that we get an epic rescue for Din Djarin, whether it's Bo-Katan, maybe some help from Carson Teva, Reva? That would be kind of cool. Carson Teva, Zeb, the Ghost Crew, potentially, maybe even Ahsoka and Sabine would be cool. Ezra Bridger. Whoever ends up being in tonight's episode, I think it's going to be an absolute banger of a finale, and this is the way indeed. Gonna rewatch the episode right now. MK Matt, this is the way. Did you mean Jabba? Yes, I think Jabba's coming real soon. And yeah, Iman Esfandi is going to play the best Jabba that we've ever seen. He seems real cool to me too. The Spies, Part 2. Let's go! Ghost Crew. I would love to see it. And Jabba is amazing indeed. Alright, y'all. I'll see you in the watch party later tonight. To the 45 of you in the chat, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. And thank you all for hanging with us for all this time. It's going to be a fun night. The finale is a fun time. We are in a fun time as a fandom, man. We're getting some fun stuff on May the 4th as well. Visions is around the corner. There's some cool Star Wars Jedi Adventures, or Young Jedi Adventures shorts out there on YouTube. They're kind of fun, even though they're for kids. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff going on, and Ahsoka's around the corner. We are going to be doing a giveaway for Jedi Survivor, which is in 11 days. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, become a channel member if you want to be a part of that giveaway. And we are going to be doing our Rebels rewatch here in the next couple of days. Saturday is the beginning of it. We're going to be starting with the first 3 episodes. It's hype in the fandom. Make sure to watch Rebels now while you can, and join us for the rewatch when we start this Saturday. Make sure to set those alarms for your naps. I promise you guys I will be up. I will see you in the episodes later. Steve Starenka, thank you for the 5 Vader's Lab memberships. Welcome to the dark side, Smalls. You have been gifted a membership, my friend. T. Davidson, welcome to the dark side to you as well. I have been gifted a membership, apparently. Thank you, Steve. Much love, though. Thank you all to the Vader's Lair members out there. Shout out to you guys. Much love to everybody. You all make Vader's Lair happen. And shout out to the positivity in the fandom, because this is definitely a fun space for Star Wars. And I am definitely excited for tonight's episode. I will see you guys later. And may the Force be with you all. Always. Much love, everybody. And I will see you in the next one. Peace. Stinger time. Haven't done one of these in a long time. Mike the Popcorn Porter says, all the toxic fans will cry that Jack Black and Lizzo saved the day. Let's go! Nah, I hope IG-11 or IG-12 Grogu saves the day, man. I'm here for it. Thank you guys for being here, though. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you enjoyed this content, because I enjoy making it for you. And I'll see you guys in the watch party later tonight at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you guys there. Peace. Give me 3.